Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 189 of Hobby Quick Hits. Today's episode is Hobby Mental Health. We got a day coming up here in a few days if you're listening to this on show release day. On Thursday, October 10th, it's World Mental Health Day. I know we have a mental health month, mental health week, but October 10th is Mental Health Day, and I want to talk about hobby mental health. And there is such a thing, or at least I believe so, and how it's important to keep it intact and in good shape so we can enjoy this hobby, right? This hobby is meant to be enjoyable, and one of the reasons we do it. So that's what this episode is going to be discussing today.
Okay, now a quick word from our great sponsor, followed by the new product release schedule. Then we'll go around the Hobbyverse to tell you all the latest hobby happenings and news. Then we'll tackle today's topic of discussion.
Hi, this is Pat Hughes, Cubs announcer, coming to you from the Sports Card Shop in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. The Gocher family has built an incredible place here for collectors to buy, sell, and trade cards and memorabilia. Be sure to stop by and let them show you around. TheSportsCardShop.com, connecting sports, athletes, the hobby, and collectors around the world.
Hi. This is Alan Pinkett, and I'm here to tell you the Gocher family has done it again. They've just opened up the Sport Card Shop in downtown Valparaiso, Indiana, and it is awesome. If you're a collector, you need to check this place out. Tell them Alan sent you and get a free gift on your first visit.
Let's check out this week's Hobby Wax releases. Take it away, Owen.
Hey guys, it's Owen from the Sports Card Shop. Let's go over the week releases. On the 9th, we have Bowman Starring Baseball, Topps Mercury Victor Wembanyama Basketball, Upper Deck Skybox Metal University Hockey, and on the 11th, we have Leaf in the Game U Sports, Topps Cosmic Chrome Baseball, Tristar Hidden Treasures Autograph Football Jersey Season Edition. Moving to the 16th, we have Leaf Perfect Game Baseball Bonus Box, Panini Origins Football International Blaster, Panini Origins WNBA Basketball, Super Break Signed Jersey Edition, Panini Impeccable Soccer. We have Topps Update Series 1, Hobby and Jumbo, and the last one, we have two more. Upper Deck Series 1, Hobby, Hockey Hobby, and then the last one on the 18th is Leaf Metal PBA. That's it, guys. Thanks.
Let's go around the Hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
And find out.
He levels it bat a couple of times. Shao kicks and he fires. Rose swings. There it is. Get out. Get out. All right. Hit number 4192. A line drive single into left center field. A clean base hit.
Some of you might recognize that call. That is Pete Rose breaking the all-time Major League hit record off Eric's show of San Diego in Cincinnati. Well, we lost Pete Rose this week, and I know we don't talk about every athlete that dies during the news segment, but Pete Rose, doesn't fit under that everyday athlete category. And I know he was 83, but arguably one of the best baseball players of all time, the hit king, regardless of what you think of him personally or what he did to get his lifetime ban. That's a record that I almost can assure you will probably never be broken again. I have my personal feelings of whether he should have been in the Hall of Fame or should be now, but which is, I believe he should. And but you know, whether you liked him or not, he was an ambassador for baseball. The guy lived and breathed the game. You know, traveled, speaking good and highly of the game that he loved to play. And so there'll probably be never be another Pete Rose. And so respect and you know, condolences to the Rose family at this time.
Fly ball, right center field. Series going back. He's at the track. He's at the wall. 40-40. Walk-off grand slam. No way. What a moment. History.
That's the call from Shohei Ohtani's walk-off grand slam, which also was his 40th home run of 2024, putting him into the 40-40 club. We obviously know now he made it to the 50-50 club, but that 40-40 ball, which a lucky fan was able to procure, just brought $251,000 in golden auctions. 61 bids finally won it, and the 50-50 ball is currently on sale as we speak, and going to obviously bring much more than that 40-40 ball. So congrats to the seller and the person got that ball, and good luck to the person with the 50th home run ball, which that is becoming a court case as another fan is suing, saying they are the rightful owner and it was ripped off or ripped out of their hands. So stay tuned to see how that all develops. But that ball is currently up for auction, and the injunction was not honored. So the auction will go on as planned.
Play it. Here's Connor Bedard. He scores.
Connor Bedard, as you heard there in the highlight, has signed an exclusive memorabilia deal with Fanatics. It's a multi-year, no financial terms announced, but millions, I'm quite sure. Again, multi-year. He still has auto-exclusive rights to Upper Deck. So Upper Deck maintains his autograph rights, but Fanatics now has his exclusive memorabilia rights, jerseys, that kind of stuff. So if you want a Bedard auto, Upper Deck. If you want some of his apparel and mem deal, that goes the Fanatics. So Bedard dipping his hands in two tills, but smart business, smart on his agent there. Yeah, you hear the gavel. Speaking of Upper Deck, they have filed a civil lawsuit against a North Carolina man and former employee. His name is Adrian Edward Franchek. He was their associate redemptions manager. He was hired in May of 2024, and he immediately, allegedly, started stealing cards that he was responsible for. They're also going to court with 20 unnamed co-defendants. These are people who were involved with his stealing scheme, including one gentleman who he sold $60,000 worth of cards to alone. So this is going to court. They want everything paid back financially, and they want him prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We'll close with one more smaller news story, hobby related. Fanatics Live has purchased and acquired, I might say this wrong, Vogt, VOGGT, a leader of European live selling of sports collectibles and TCG products. They have 500,000 members, and now they are owned by Fanatics Live. So again, the expansion and takeover of Fanatics continues on all fronts.
And now, our feature presentation.
Okay, so today's episode, we're going to talk about mental health in the hobby. And you might be saying to yourself, John, mental health, that's a medical issue, that's a personal issue, and you're not wrong. But there is hobby mental health. I've alluded to it on other episodes, right? mental health is our overall state of being or our mindset and how we're feeling internally. It also can be, mental health diseases such as OCD, autism, different things on that spectrum. It's what I do for work as a teaching assistant in special education and at the high school level. I also have, probably like many of you out there listening, family members or friends that have dealt with mental health issues, diagnoses, or crises in their life, right? But we can have it. I'm going to keep it to the hobby here, obviously. This is not a medical show. I'm definitely not a doctor. But we're going to talk about how our hobby mental health can have potentially a negative effect, especially if we're in a bad place within the hobby. So don't let the title kind of scare you away. And this is something I'm going to share a personal story, some personal things that have happened to an acquaintance. And so kind of to bring things to light. Some of this stuff, like I mentioned, I've talked about on previous episodes. So, what could affect your hobby mental health, right? Well, stressing over something, right? Maybe stressing over how much money you spent at a show, on a card, right? We've all been there where, I don't want to say necessarily buyer's remorse, but did we do the right thing? Did we get a good deal? Did we spend too much? Are we going to get in trouble with a significant other? Is that purchase going to spill over and cost something else, not to be paid or not to be paid on time, right? Travel. A lot of us do travel as part of our hobby, whether that be to attend shows, for content creation, to set up at shows. I check all those boxes, right? Are we traveling so much that it's stressing us out, right? There's something called, the term jet lag for a reason, right? Or, travel, you don't know what day it is anymore because you're away from home so much, right? Maybe your stress comes from being a completist, right? I'm trying to get every card ever made by Jackie Robinson. I'm collecting every set of tops ever, right? And you're trying to fill those vintage era sets, and you sort of feel like it's a race against the clock, right? Will I live long enough to finish these and that sort of thing, right? So a lot of things can bring sort of hobby stress to us if we let it, or we have sort of the wrong approach. So let me tell you, again, I've shared this story on other episodes. I had a dealer acquaintance of mine that I was setting up with at shows quite a bit. But he would do more shows than me. He was doing shows almost every weekend. He was not home. Very few weekends was he even home. And he was married. He had 2 young kids. And I won't mention his name, but I said to him, man, are you're doing these every weekend. And you're like, are you, is that possible? Are you in the doghouse? And, he answered it, kind of beat around the bush with his answer. And he's like, but he would say, I miss this. I miss my son's Little League game. I miss my daughter's recital. My wife's not really thrilled with. But he didn't slow down. He just kept doing these shows, traveling and not home. And, he was served with divorce papers, and he wound up getting divorced. He got very little, visitation, right? He got some, but they really dragged him in court, or ex-wife's attorney, he's an absentee dad. He wasn't there. Yeah, he paid some bills, but he wasn't there as a dad and a husband. And he really lost his family situation because of that. And, I saw that. I was a young dealer at the time, or a younger dealer at the time when it happened. I wasn't even married yet myself. And I'm like, yeah, if I ever get married, something I don't want to happen to me. Even with this podcast, folks, I've talked about around episode 50s to 60s. I was really, the show was taking off, Sports Card Nation. Episode 50s, and the show really started to get some traction, and downloads were going up big time. And so I really got even more serious about producing the show, to the point where I spent a lot of time on it. And my own wife was, I came down from upstairs where I do all my stuff, and she said, "Hi, my name's Sharon. Who are you?" And it was a half attempt at being funny and a half attempt at sending a message like, "Hey, you're spending a lot of time on this stuff." And sometimes we need someone else to tell us about that, right? I didn't even realize it. Sometimes when we're in the middle of something, we don't realize it. It was that conversation that led me to figure some new things out, new techniques, new way to edit to save time. We started a dry erase schedule in the kitchen where we put where I can put what I'm doing, when, and everyone else in the household does the same. My son, my wife, and my mother-in-law. So we know what everyone's doing and what days and different. So you compromise, you figure out solutions, right? And I did, and I even have talked about this. I figured out. Someone asked me, how much time do you spend hobby-wise, content creation, doing shows, production of the content creation, and I sat down one day and I figured it out. It's 8%. 8% of every day is hobby related. And when I say hobby related, the definition for me is content creation, cards, doing shows, and that sort of thing. And so when you think about 8%, that's pretty low. I think a lot of people will be surprised by that. But it really is. There's some days I don't do anything. There's others I do more. So it averages out to about 8%. And for me, that's a perfect number, because I think you can be consumed by the hobby. And I'm not even just talking content creation. I'm talking about anybody in the hobby, right? Even as a collector, if you're just, your whole life revolves around your hobby. The hobby's supposed to be an escape, a release, an outlet for the everyday mundane things, right? But if you get consumed by the hobby itself becomes the mundane thing. And I've seen it happen before. I've talked to other people who I'm not going to mention their names. If they wanted you to know, they tell me yourself. But, I've had that conversation where, man, John, I used to enjoy the hobby, but now that I'm doing it so much, I don't enjoy it like I did. And that's not relegated to hobby. That goes for anything, right? If you do something even that you really like and enjoy too much, it can be monotonous, and the bloom comes off the rose, as the saying goes. And so you got to find that, work-life balance, especially if you're married and have children. In my case, I have both of those, but, I guess I'm fortunate with some of the content creation stuff that my son's now 24 and he's an adult himself. And so, I did the Little League and the coaching him and going to his game and all that stuff, the school functions, and I didn't miss any of that. Had he been a younger kid today, I wouldn't probably do the hobby stuff I do get to do, even at that 8% level. So, I don't want to sound like a psychologist or whatnot, but, your family's got to be first, and I just think it's important. So, keep that stress level down. The hobby, just more enjoyable. And, again, the hobby's not supposed to be a point of stress. And so if it's becoming one, maybe it's becoming one you don't even realize it's someone else. Like in my case with my wife, in the episode of Sports Card Nation in the 50s and 60s, to kind of make a comment like, hey, you're spending a lot of time upstairs in your studio, in your office. I hardly see you anymore, right? I didn't really even think about it until she said it, and then the light bulb went on, and we obviously fixed that. And good thing, right? What if she didn't say something and just stewed about it, and it got worse? It, could have went in a whole different direction. So de-stress your hobby if it needs to be. Maybe this doesn't apply to you, and frankly, I hope it doesn't. I hope you're listening to this and scratching your head and saying, man, I guess I'm good because none of this applies to me. I hope that's the case. But when we think of the hobby, think about the investment. And I know people don't like that word and using the hobby, but I'm not even talking just money, right? It's the stuff we invest in the hobby. It can be money, it can be time, it can be travel, it can be away from other things, other requirements, other obligations and responsibilities, right? And we don't want to get lax on those because of the hobby. The hobby's supposed to complement our life, as it does in my case now. So, again, maybe, if you feel like you need to talk, like, that's the beauty of the hobby community, too, folks, is, you have a lot of people, and we're all a fraternity, right? You have a lot of people that you can talk to, you can turn to, you can say, hey, this is going on. What do you think? What would you do? What should I do? Right? Maybe whether you agree with them or not, that's neither here nor there. But sometimes just getting it off your chest, right? Talking about it can make a world of difference. Maybe a suggestion from someone else is exactly foots the bill in what you need to help you distress or come up with a solution if the hobby again becomes a point of stress and a negative mental health thing. And it can be, right? If you're someone who deals with OCD, I deal with some of that through what I do for work and special education. If you know anyone that suffers from that, or you yourself, you know how difficult that is, right? Now factor in the hobby, maybe with OCD, right? It can be even amplified even more. So, reach out to someone if you're in a bad spot. If the hobby is, again, a point of contention. And again, I hope it isn't, because I enjoy it. The level I'm finally settled in at here at 8% of each day is the right number for me. Still, one Sports Card Nation every week, either this show or Card Mentions every Monday. Hobby Hotline once or twice a month for me, right? It's a good balance. It's where I kind of want to be. I don't want to upset that apple. So, but if you're in a bad spot, again, I always say this, right? Plenty of people out there willing to help you, myself included. And don't be shy to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's actually very brave to do so, and might be different when you do. That being said, I hope you're doing well, and we'll talk to you. All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/sportscardnationpodcast/ Twitter, we are at sportscardnat1, so it's sportscard NATI1. Instagram at sportscardnationpodcast, or you can email the show hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.